Chapter 27.
You are now listening to the Chapter of the Architect with DJ Architect.
What's going on, fellas? We're here hanging out here in the Chapter of the Architect. This is Chapter 27, man. This is going to be a special chapter. We're going to be talking about, I believe, this episode, this chapter is going to be released the day before Halloween, man. So we're going to do some spooky shit for y'all monkey asses. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so, you know, Halloween, when I was a kid growing up, fellas, and I'm sure for you guys as well, was my favorite holiday of the season. I don't know why, man. I don't know if it was because I like being scared, and at the same time, when I was a child, I'd have to go to sleep in the bed by myself, and then I'd be, you know what I mean, knocking on my parents' door, talking about, hey, let me sleep with you guys. I'm fucking scared, you know. But I just liked that time of the year. I like the, you know, the candy, obviously, when you were a child. I don't know why, man, but, you know, JJ, you're more of my age. I know Sherm's a bit younger, but maybe you probably rocked the plastic costumes that came in that little box. Do you remember that? And they had like the little plastic.
Yeah, they doubled mask for the when you go train for wrestling. You could just
man.
Or when you go rob a bank.
Yeah. Well, they used to have it was the plastic costumes that you would, you know, they were almost like a little jumpsuit. And if your stride when you ran was too long, they would tear because it was plastic.
Right.
But I love that smell of that plastic costume. Yeah, man.
Is this a fetish show or?
Oh man, I'm just saying. I'm going back to my memories of going trick or treating out in New York, and I remember, man, out there going trick or treating was a bit crazy, man, because you know, motherfuckers were broke, and some motherfuckers would say fuck eggs, they throw potatoes. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Yeah, and it would get to a point like 2 weeks before Halloween, if you were a child or, you know what I mean, someone that was of the age of to be able to go trick-or-treating, they would stop selling eggs to you. So you would have to come, like an adult would have, 2 weeks prior, an adult would have to come buy eggs. Because they was like, oh, hell no, we're not going to have this.
Yeah, we had that as well.
How was Halloween here in California for you guys?
Well, you guys grew up like in a city environment, right?
Oceanside.
I grew up on a farm. So it's kind of like ranch. Like our family had like, I would say, I don't know, at least 10 acres where all the families were situated, like the aunts and uncles. And like my grandma was like, I could see my grandma's back door from our house.
I don't mean to cut you off, man, but let me apologize to everyone who's going to be listening to the podcast, man. But the truth is, I didn't give you a formal introduction. We have here one of our good friends, JJ, who's the drummer of the band La Justicia. Great music. What type of music is that, JJ?
Well, I call it. We call it like a top 40 norteño band here in SoCal because we have. There's 6 of us in the group, and to include our sound engineer. And everybody kind of has like a whole different background. Everybody comes from either from Mexico, or Mexican American, born here, California. Myself being from Texas. I actually grew up. My early childhood was here in Central California, so I still have that California influence, you know. And when I went down back to Texas, and then we have one of the guitar players. He's actually from Mexico City, so it's a large array of different colors,
different textures of flavors from different locations.
The root of the music is regional mexicano or norteño music, but we all listen to rock, blues, hip hop, reggae. So we have all these different colors that we draw from when we try to interpret music.
Make music.
For the most part, we do covers right now. We're like a top 40 norteño band.
That's off the hook, man. That's cool, man. So let's go back to, you were raised on this farm, man. So for trick or treating, what'd you get? Like potatoes,
corn on the cob,
corn on the cob. Right. Well, how did that work, man?
No, so what my dad would have us do was we most our traditional trick or treating as we know trick or treating with like asking for candies was kind of done at school. You know, we'd get home and we'd go to my grandma's house, and she always had treats or something cooking in the kitchen, you know. And we'd go around, and they would take us out. We would either just go on our own. Back in the day, I mean, we didn't get chaperoned too much, especially on the farm.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody, so we kind of had free reign of everything, of all the territory, you know.
Bro, all these years that I've known you, I never knew that you grew up on a farm. That's crazy, right? I always thought, like, you know, you were so cowboy, was raised somewhere here in, you know, the San Diego area. I had no idea.
That's super crazy.
Yeah,
What farm and what did they grow?
Well, by the time I think my grandpa used to have, I believe, kind of like cotton fields here, actually in California, in Central California. And they would truck the cotton seed from California or from Bakersfield down to Mexicali.
Oh, wow, no way.
And that's what they did when I was still in my daddy's balls when that shit was going on, you know what I'm saying? And but by the time I got to Texas, it had kind of turned into a logistical type of thing. They used to harvest for farmers.
Oh, wow.
But my grandpa, he grew corn and sorghum and different plants down that are native to South Texas, like citrus, you know, watermelon, carrots, and so on and so forth.
Hey, Sherm, so how were your Halloweens as a kid, man, growing up in Oceanside?
Well, back to what you were saying as far as the eggs, and it wasn't just eggs; it was toilet paper as well. That we had to, right. So after driving
paper the trees, right?
Yeah, was it like after 8 o'clock or so? You'd have to show a driver's license to buy a package of toilet paper and or eggs. I swear to God,
this was on Halloween night or the day prior, maybe.
Well, also on Halloween, but it was every night of, I mean, yeah, if you're 17 years old and you're going and buying like a 48 pack of toilet paper and a carton of eggs,
you were suspect.
Yeah, they'd be like,
no, that's not
no, I
happen.
need to verify that you're an adult.
Man, wow. You know, I'm going to talk about some real close family. I call them family. They were great. They still are great friends of ours that we grew up with in New York. We were so tight that we called each other cousins. My buddy Ricardo Ticas, his mom was very, very tight with my mom. They grew up in El Salvador. They came here to New York, not here, but to New York. And she would take us. She would gather us all up, and you know, along with her kids, Tony, George. Rick, Eric. I don't know if Eric wasn't even born at the time. I don't think. My brother and I, and she would pack us up into this her car, and we would go trick or treating on the rich side of the town. We wouldn't stay in our neighborhood because either you weren't going to get an answer at the door, right? And you know this. So we would go. We lived in Westbury. We grew up in Westbury, so we go to Salisbury, which is like, you know, this
like
rich neighborhood.
Steak.
It was the neighborhoods where they would just leave out the plastic pumpkins filled with Snickers and Twix and all the good stuff.
All
man.
the good candy.
And there would be a note saying, take one, you know, and keep it moving. But what would we do? We say, no, we gonna take it all, baby. We would grab that pumpkin and we'd be like, yo, man, this is for us. And then whatever pumpkins they had on their doorstep, we would grab the pumpkin and smash it. Like we was on some terrible shit. Some real grimy ass
I think
kids.
that's like a Latino thing, dog. Because like I watch when the Latino kids come over to the house, I watch those motherfuckers, dog. Like I give them the candy. I don't let them grab it.
No, because then they'll grab a handful.
Well,
and still to this day, I
they
regulate.
get crazy, dog.
I'm like,
I'm
here's
like-
one for you. Here's one for you. And the funny thing is that my wife brings like the good stuff. I'll have like lemon heads or hot tamales, and my wife's like, why you buy that cheap crap? She comes through with the Snickers, and she knows I love Snickers. So what do? I hide the bag of Snickers and I put out the hot tamales and the lemon heads.
Yeah.
And she goes, you know, why you putting Tootsie Rolls out? Where's the good candy? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm thinking about
I hate it all.
That's for me. The hell with these suckers. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to say, Sherm?
Don't even know if I should. And edit it out if you feel necessary. But he said Latinos and Halloween. So Fire Mountain in the early 90s, we would get fools coming to our door, not in a costume, just like rolling up, being like, hey, heard y'all are handing out candy.
Get
We'd
the
be
fuck
like,
out of here, man.
You're 40 and you're not in a costume.
Are you fucking serious, bro?
Get the hell off my porch.
Get the
You know,
fuck
I feel
outta
bad, but it's not like you're getting your nutrients. It's not like I'm feeding the poor. We're talking about candy. We're talking
man.
about like Skittles and Snickers.
Right.
It's like, no, man. No. Did you bring a kid? Like, are any of these
Where's your child?
Where? Yeah, right. Where are your children? No. And hey, man. And it's only because I'm in a room of Latinos that I could say this, I think. But if I was with two other white guys right now and on a podcast, they'd be like, oh, shut this shit down.
Hey, check this out,
Shut
man.
this down.
It's funny
That's the nature of the beast, though.
Funny that you say that, man, because, you know, when we were growing up, one of my eldest cousins, George, big shout out to Wolfie. He was a lot bigger than us, you know what I mean? And he was already in high school, so he was lifting weights. And I recall he would be in the back, and it was like a fucking Jason, you know what I mean? Standing in the back of a group of these little kids. And I recall this one night, man, this lady goes to him. He goes, aren't you a little old for trick-or-treating? I felt embarrassed for him. And I was like, damn. And I look at my cousin George. I'm like, damn, you shouldn't come trick-or-treating with us no more, dog. You
cramping our style.
Yeah.
You cramping our style.
No, I'm talking like cowboy boots, jeans, and like a flannel. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yo, so this one time, man, we're in Salisbury one of these years. And there's a mob of at least 16. And these fools, they start running towards us. You know what I mean? So my cousin Rick, he has you remember that Aquanet back in the days, right? So he has a bottle of Aquanet inside of his book bag, and he has a lighter. And he lights the lighter, and he shakes the bottle of Aquanet, and he does like that flamethrower thing, you know?
That's how we used to kill black widows.
And the mob just turns around and leaves, man. Man, I truly do miss those times, man, because you were carefree. You were going out looking for candy. I remember one particular time we would go to this other area close to us called Carl Place. My brother had this Honda Accord. And, you know, we were going around doing our thing. He was 2 or 3 years older than me, depending on the time of the year. So he had his buddies with him. And there's maybe 4 of us roaming the streets. And then he happens to drive by and see us, and he picks us up. So now we're packed in this little, 4-door vehicle, sedan. And we go to Carl Place. We're like, hey, let's go egg Carl Place. We go ahead. We go to a stop sign. And I remember we were so packed that, you know, obviously my brother was driving. Somebody was in the front seat. And then we had my homeboy Tito, my boy Ray, who was on podcast 15.
All these names sound familiar.
Right. So Ray nicknamed him Tito. He named him Niño Pescado, which is
Little fish
boy, because he had a face of a fish. he had them fish lips, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I named my ex-girlfriend, but anyway.
So he's like damn near halfway hanging out. So we're on the lookout for these guys in Carlsbad, and we stop at the stop sign, and to the right is a big-ass bush. And we stop, and half of his body is hanging out the passenger seat of the vehicle when we start getting egged, man. And we're like, oh, shit, like these motherfuckers ambushed us. You know what I mean?
They were waiting.
Bro, they were waiting. We got egged. We didn't know it was that bad. All of a sudden, we see Niño Pescado come back in the car, like, you know, half his body comes back, and he's holding his right eye. We're like, yo, man, what happened? Yo, these motherfuckers got me in my eye. And, like, he's picking eggshells out of his fucking eyelids. They were like, damn, dog, they got you. The next day we go to school, he's got a black eye. I mean, they welted him really, really good, man. Growing up, I remember this particular Sunday. Our father had gone fishing. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. In New York, WPIX 1011, they were going to have The Exorcist like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I begged my mom. I must have been maybe 8 years old. I begged my mom, hey, mom, because, you know, you're a child. You always wanted to see these things. Hey, mom, can I see it? No, cabron. Porque vas a tener miedo y después vas a estar llorando and you want to come
No
sleep
vas a
with me.
dormir.
No vas a dormir. You're going to come knocking on the door. She goes, you better. She goes, if I let you watch this movie, you better not come knocking at the door talking about you want to sleep with us. I said, Roger that. At ease yourself. I'm going to show you some things.
Man,
Hey,
the Exorcist fucked me up, dog.
Bro, let me tell you
I ain't
what,
gonna lie.
Bro, let me tell you what happened, man. So I watched this fucking movie, man. Probably the scariest movie till this day. They better not attempt to remake that movie. It's in the middle of August. The humidity in New York is ridiculous around that time. I mean, you take a shower, you step out for 10 minutes, you want to go back and take another shower. I can't fall asleep because there's a particular screenshot in the movie where you see the little girl laying down, like looking up, and it's like a moon beam, like the light is just casting on her face, and she's just looking up. Her face is burned into my memory, and I can't get it out. And right now, I just got goosebumps thinking about that ugly little gremlin. But I couldn't go to sleep, and I told my mom that I wasn't gonna go knock on that door, man. I was so fucking scared. And I grabbed the blanket, not the thin one, the thick one, and I put that bitch over my fucking head, scared as fuck. In the middle of August, windows open, but I'm sweating like, you know what I mean? I will never forget that, man. When the morning came, I was so fucking happy, man. I said, man, that is the scariest fucking movie. What are your takes on that movie, JJ?
It's just the whole, especially like in the Mexican culture, parents use the demons and the bad spirits like as tools to manipulate and to control
To
your
behave.
ass.
You better
To behave,
behave.
dog, because el cucuy te va a
Hey.
chingar el cucuy.
Did you guys ever have la mano peluda?
The mano peluda, dude. We used to just sit around because I mean, we didn't have like Cox cable vision and stuff like that.
Sherm's looking around like, what the fuck
Is that
la mano?
It's a radio show. It was a radio show called La Mano Peluda.
So
Really?
la mano peluda is like the hairy hand. You know what I mean?
I got one of those. That's a hairy palm.
Conjuring up the spirits.
I have a hairy
some evil
palm.
spirits.
and
That's not what we're talking
the
about.
Mano
though.
Peluda was a radio show, and they would like have this whole segment, and all they would just tell all these like folklore legend accounts, and then people would go on as a caller, and they would
Tell their stories.
They would tell their story, you know.
La Llorona.
Dude, La Llorona.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Dude, she was everywhere, yo. Because like
She was in Temecula. Do you remember?
No,
Do you remember?
I don't know, man. I'm new to the. Well, I've been here 5 years, man.
Can
but-
you pronounce
do you guys
the name
know?
for me again?
Do you guys know the legend of La
Llorona?
Llorona?
dude.
Tell
it's
the
so
story.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Sherm, you can look this up to correct me.
No,
but-
I just was reading about it last night.
So supposedly the legend goes that La Llorona, she was a beautiful woman, and she murdered all her kids for her dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if I remember that she murders the kids, for a piece of ass, and the dude dumps her ass.
Wow.
Like he dumps her, and she ends up having like kind of like a sentence or whatever, and she has to go around. She's going around looking for her kids now,
Wow.
for eternity. That's like kind of like her penance or something,
Wow, that's wild, man.
But they always say that, and then stuff get mixed out because they always they scare you. And it being on the farm, my
Yeah.
grandma's house was like a good half mile.
I hear that's where they fucking chill and throw parties and
bro. It's the imagination in the.
shit. In the country is where they fucking that's like where they
believe that
they
shit.
pop bottles over there.
So-
the ghouls and shit.
Here, Carlos.
So
They are here.
So this is the kind of shit I would experience because I come from my grandma's house, and it's a good half, not a half mile, but around there, about 3/4 of a mile from our house to my grandma's house, and in between was kind of like a pasture. And back home in Texas, we have this what they call Johnson grass, and it's kind of like a Johnson grass, barley grass. It kind of grows
A little bit high.
about knee high,
Right.
or a little bit more. But so You get that shit kicking with the wind. You know what I'm saying? And you're walking, and it's just like in the movies, Joe, where you're like walking and you're like, and you can hear shit. Like, and then your walk or your becomes a brisk walk into a slight jog. And before you know it, you're fucking hauling ass, bro. You're fucking
Nope.
You're Sonic the Hedgehog, bro. Fucking going hitting that back door. Cause I swear I could hear shit, man. I felt like that's what, and the adrenaline kicks in, bro, and it's like you're in overdrive, man.
In El Salvador, they have these legends. One is called El Cipitio, and it's supposed to be the son of the devil, like a little demon. But one that was more, I don't know if famous is the proper word, but I would hear more stories about was La Ciguanaba. La Ciguanaba was supposed to be the devil's wife, long black hair, big breasts, and she would come out and pretty much take the souls of the individuals who were unfaithful to their women, their wives. So she would appear in a very sexual,
very seductive,
yes, very beautiful looking woman. And then the moment right before, she takes the soul of the man, she turns into her real apparition form, and she's like ugly
Medusa.
Yeah, witch looking. Long story short, she would appear, forested area and scare people. My uncle, we took vacation when I was a child. We're in El Salvador, and he tells us the story about the Ciguanaba. When he was a kid, not a kid, but he was already, maybe 18, 19 years old, and he used to have a bicycle, and he was saying that he was a player, pimp of the millennium. And, you remember those little lights that you had on the wheel that, when it made contact with the wheel, it would create like a light charge?
Right.
So he had one of those in the front tire of his bicycle, and he said that he had one girlfriend he had just dropped off, and he had to hurry up to pick up his other girlfriend. Dang. So he decides to take a shortcut. In this shortcut, it's sort of like a dirt road, lonely, forested area.
You don't want to be seen.
So he's booking because he's already late. The sun's coming down. He says about 15 minutes into the bike ride to go pick up his other girlfriend, he sees the girlfriend he had just dropped off like in front of him, and he said he got goosebumps because he was trying to reason within himself, saying, "Hey, man, I just dropped her off." And he was telling me and my brother, he goes, "I remember to the T the top that she was wearing," and she goes, "That was her. That was her." He got scared, so he ends up turning the bicycle around. She reappears 2 minutes later again in front of him.
Oh, I would have lost it, done.
Bro, he said he went bananas and turned the bicycle again and started going the original, way if he was traveling. And then he said he hears laughter coming from outside of the forest. And then he was like, yo, that was the Ciguanaba trying to get my ass because I was a player. I was like, wow, that's crazy, man.
Whoa.
That's crazy. Let me tell you this one more story. I know, Sherm, you got a good particular juicy steak to throw on that grill. But let me tell you this other story.
I'm gonna fix me another drink.
Yeah, absolutely, man. By all means. So me listening to these stories, I used to love listening to these stories, man. I was like, yeah, give me more. But
you kicked yourself in the ass like later, right?
Yeah, later. Hey, could you pass him that bottle real quick?
Oh, sure.
So my father and his buddy, they're drinking this one particular night at my father's brother, his house, my father's friend's house. We're in El Salvador. This is San Miguel. He has 2 daughters. My father, for whatever reason, they drinking till 2:00 in the morning. My brother and I fall asleep, so they leave us there at their home. I wake up sometime in the middle of the night, thirsty, wanting to get some water. And then I wake up in an unfamiliar room. And then it dawns on me, after a while, I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, he got drunk. Our father got drunk. So we stayed here. And it all kind of like, I rationalized out of that sleepy dream what was going on. I look outside the window. And the window has like blinds. But you know how the light still creeps in from the sides of the blind?
Right.
The street light was creeping in. And directly in the middle of that window was the silhouette of a female with long hair. in the fucking room with fucking red eyes. Red eyes. Like, you know, when you take a photograph and you see the red eye.
Right.
Man.
My eyes are always red, but
Bro.
no, it's okay. Keep going. Keep going.
I paused for a second because I was like, you know what? Nah, man. And then I just kept like, you know, I was like, fuck, I just woke up out of a deep sleep. And I was like, is this real? So my brother and I were sleeping in the same bed.
I just got chills, yo.
Yo, listen,
like,
man.
I got chills because, like, there's something about, like, you could see something and your eye to brain function or whatever is trying to process whatever you think you're seeing.
You're seeing.
But all the time, your body's already in a panic. Like, it already knows something about...
You fucked up, man.
Like, something's like,
you
hey,
fucked up, yeah.
Something's wrong, yo. Get out. But you're still trying to process.
Right. You don't want to seem like an idiot.
Right.
You know?
And, dude, that is... And this is the crazy part. I've never really been, like, where... Well, at least in the... Like, they always say, like, in the Mexican culture, and I'm not going to speak for all the Mexican culture. In my family, they used to say... my tia used to say, he goes, the evil can't touch you, mijo. Evil exists, but you have to believe, like, he brings into the God thing. As long as you believe in good and you believe, you know, good thoughts, you can combat it. You can combat
It's almost like you can empower it.
Right. Like, the more you believe in something,
the more it becomes fruition.
You're vulnerable.
And then we're going to talk about that.
Well, I just have a counter to that. And like what got me there, and it's funny that like so I was more kind of like on an atheist path.
Give me 1 second because I know you got a good story, but
I'm addressing what he said.
And it actually ties in on how I am already. So go for it.
But just let me cap off the story real quick. So I wake my brother up, seeing this lady with the shadows with the red eyes. I wake my brother up for confirmation, and I go to my brother, "Hey, man." And we're in El Salvador, and I'm talking to this guy in English. I say, "Yo, do you see that shit?" And this motherfucker looks at it for like 3 or 4 seconds. I'm on the edge. He was on the edge of the bed. He jumps over me and gets closer to the wall, away from this fucking shit. And he goes, "Yo, man, pray. And
I still got I got the goosebumps, yo.
And we fell asleep in a prayer position. We were just fucking praying in English, man. And we woke up. Nothing motherfucking happened. I told my grandmother Pasita, God rest her dead, who just passed away last December, and she started laughing. She goes, that was probably their grandmother making sure that you guys didn't do any hanky panky in the bedroom.
Probably.
But sure, go on with your story, brother.
Well, what I was saying is that what you just said, I mean, there could be an atheist person who never believed in a higher power or whatever, but it's the evil stories that actually make them believe in the higher power.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So I just realized if I talk directly onto this mic, it hears me a lot better.
Remember I was telling you?
Yeah, I do see that. But I think I should move it over because I want to keep looking at him as I speak to him.
No, you can.
But
you can.
Okay, I will in a second. But no, yeah, I think it's the evil that brings a lot of people to try to seek the good. Even atheists, you know. I mean, there's a lot of them out there, and I was one for a while until, you know, certain events, but yeah, it's crazy.
JJ, check this out, man. I listened to this.
Dude, you can't just leave me like that. You gotta.
He's not. We're about to get into it.
I'm fixing it. I want to be able to look at you, JJ.
Check it out. I listened to this show, and I don't know if you guys do, called Coast to Coast.
Oh yeah,
it's on
with George Norrie,
right?
Hell
before
yeah.
used to be
Love that dude.
Before it used to be Art
Listen
Bell,
to it
right?
on the way to work.
Exactly. So several weeks before Sherman and I had this conversation, I was listening to George Norrie, Coast to Coast, and this show comes on, I believe it's 9:00 in the evening till like 4:00 in the morning, man. And all they do is they talk about extraterrestrial government conspiracies, demonic possession, exorcism, ghosts. And then for Halloween they go on this. The whole show is called Ghost to Ghost. Love that show. Anyways, 2 weeks before Sherman and I had this conversation, they're talking about the topic is this apparition or this demon called the Hat Man. I'm listening to it. I never had any personal experience with this apparition. So it's an apparition that, or demon that, while you're sleeping, appears at the corner of your bed, at the foot of your bed, and he's wearing a hat.
Yo, and not to cut you off, but I think I want to say there's a Guatemalan legend, like a folklore legend, and the actual, it's about a demon, and they call him El Sombreron. Which is crazy, kind of like the Hat Man.
That would make a lot of sense.
That's crazy.
Yo. So 2 weeks prior, I've heard this particular radio show about this demon. And then Sherman and I were driving to work because we used to carpool. We're carpooling. Sherman, tell the listeners about that conversation on the way to work.
I can tell you about the conversation. The conversation was about Hat Man and the dream I had that night. But Carlos didn't know that I've had a relationship with Hat Man since like 2005. And
exclusively?
For real?
No.
You guys used to
go
out and
shit, maybe I was committed.
You guys were going out eating steaks together?
Yeah. But
What
man,
the fuck?
no, I
didn't
don't even
know
know
it
where to
was since
start.
2005.
Oh yeah, you did. You just forgot. You forget.
possibly. I drink a
sometimes.
lot.
That's all right.
Like a reoccurring thing.
So check this out. Like I've done my study to know where it comes from, where it stems from. I'm not necessarily saying there's a demon sitting in the corner of my bedroom, but I'm not saying there isn't. In 2005, so I was in the military, right? And I was prescribed some medication that kind of fucked up my neurological shit. So if I'm at a bar and I'm holding a beer and I'm laughing or I'm getting excited about some shit, I drop the beer. There's a disconnect. So, or if I'm about to spank my kid's ass, I'll go down like a fainting goat. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. You can't hear Carlos right now, but he is dying laughing right now.
Put that soccer ball down, Carlos.
Pouring Red Label, just dying and listen. Yeah, he's listening and laughing.
That's crazy.
So I have this. Yeah, I have this issue. It made me lose my driver's license and my job at one point, and I had to go to court and get it back. But they diagnosed me with syncope and a mild form of narcolepsy. So I was the type that after 2005, I constantly had sleep paralysis. So I was halfway there, halfway sleeping, halfway not, all the time, like every night. And I was working shift work. And shift work, it screwed me up. So it gave me a lack of sleep, this and that. And when you have a mild form of narcolepsy and you're on shift
just
work,
worsens it.
Oh, you suck. You suck. You hallucinate while you're driving. It sucks. That sucks. So I think when I hear and read these articles about the people who see this Hat Man, which is really fucking weird, that doesn't make any sense. That we all see the guy with the fucking hat. Like when they started showing pictures, I was like, oh shit!
And you had never heard of this Hat Man prior to this, right?
Fuck no.
You just started seeing this thing.
Honestly, I didn't know about the Hat Man until Carlos,
he talked about
until
it.
I got in the car. And
That's
I was like,
crazy.
Yeah. So I got in the car and I was like, hey, Carlos, man.
That's nuts, bro.
We are listening to Coast, and it usually cuts out. We get like 5 minutes and then stops, and then we got to drive to work listening to some bullshit. But Coast to Coast, he was probably up earlier and he got to listen to Coast to Coast. So he's been listening to Coast to Coast a lot longer than I do. I only listen to it for the 5 minutes that I get in his car. Like, we have 5 minutes to listen to it, then it gets shut off, and we have to listen to something else because that's about the time it was ending.
Right.
So I was telling him, I said, hey, man, didn't sleep. And he said, why not? And I was like, nah, don't worry about it. I mean, it's not something.
I don't want to talk about it.
You tell some shit like that to somebody, you're just kind of like, fuck. this guy, he's not going to pick me up anymore. Like, I need to get to work. And so anyway, I was going to bed early because we got to be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And, I had some good thoughts in my head, and I'm about to go to sleep, and I think I went to sleep, but you can't tell when you're in that kind of like sleep paralysis.
Because of that condition, you don't know what's what.
That's right. And there's that motherfucker who I've seen for, at that time, it was probably like 7 years. I mean, the same guy, same fucking hat, same shadow, same everything. That's crazy. And he's sitting in the corner, kind of as I am right now.
I don't even want to look at you, though. I'm like getting goosebumps, dog.
You know what's fucked up? If you Google this guy, that picture, like somebody was able to describe it well enough to where it painted it perfect, or maybe it happens to an artist, but they were drawing it out, and when I saw that shit, I was like, oh, fuck.
Wow.
And so they just sit in the corner like this with his hat tilted.
That's crazy.
His fucking little sombrero tilted.
I'm getting the goosebumps, though.
He tells me how unholy I am. Oh. And I'm not even a religious dude. But he goes,
hat man?
You just sit over there and think you're fucking holy, and fucking I'll tell everybody you're not. I know. Dude, I yelled. It was...
the hat man is telling you this?
Oh, yeah. Yo, it's fucking sick.
How did his voice sound? Did he sound like a wretch? Like he'd been smoking cigars and shit?
You're a fuck up.
You're a fuck up. Like that.
Shit,
yeah.
Like the bit from The Exorcist.
So we were just at my mom's house. This is like a month ago.
That's crazy.
I yelled, I am a fucking demon in my sleep. And my wife happened to be in the area, and I was laying on the floor, and I said, "Did you fucking hear that?" She's like, "Yeah," but she's used to this shit. And I was like,
I'll give a fuck.
I'm trying to finish dinner.
You're right. Did I just yell, I'm a fucking demon? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck. And so I get up and I go, like, walk out.
You're going to see the demon right now, boy.
So I don't know what it is with people with like partial narcolepsy or whatever the fuck it is, but they see the same shit. The voice is the same. It's fucked up. But so real quick, I'm going to make this real quick because this could turn into a whole nother podcast. I'm not going to go there, but so I found a way to like conquer it. And it's when I reach that state of half awake, half asleep, and that sleep paralysis that a lot of us get sometimes, but I get all the time because I'm a fucking freak. So I notice I'm there, and it's real easy after fucking 30 years, you know? I notice I'm there, and that's it. So I charge down the stairs, run into the street, and do what the fuck I want. And I've always been good with that, but now that, like, I've always been good with guided dreaming. Like, once I get in a dream, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
There's got to be some kind of, like, bridge. And this is the thing, because, like, he touches on the atheist thing, Sherm, and I'm there with you because... like, you know, I grew up Catholic. So, but I used to, you know, back in the early days, I got myself in a little bit of trouble here and there. And it's not like where I'm from, in the Rio Grande Valley down in South Texas, it's not that big, you know? So we used to get around. And I used to see all these people that were, I was kind of jaded because you would see people that were, you know, supposed to be doing good. And they're your best customers, yo.
Yeah, church.
You feel me?
People. Yeah.
You know, and so I was real jaded about that, and I was kind of privy to. I used to live with a family that were like churchgoers, and they're probably one of the only families that I ever saw them practice what they preach. Like they lived it. Like.
They were for real.
They were for real, but without being crazy, like not being extremist, you know?
Right.
In a definition, if you want to define extreme, being extreme, they didn't. Anyways, and the point I'm trying to make is that I never really was kind of like. I just think I've always just thought they're just they kind of manipulate people, weaker minded people. That's how I addressed
people that are in need.
I've always thought about that. Like I've always kind of said that, and to tie, and I'm gonna tie this in to my point that I'm trying to make. And the whole point is that, so I never really kind of believed that kind of shit. So I would kind of make my own decision, based on facts. I love facts. I love history, and I like cause and effect. I am, I guess, scientific in that part of my brain believes that kind of stuff. But then there's got to be things that we don't quite understand, and I think as human beings, we always trying to understand shit. We want to, like, I know this or this happens because of this, and we always want to know why, by nature. And to my point, so I found myself in a lot of trouble. Like I was literally down to we were in my his name is Smiley Alvarado. I remember him. His dad used to be. I was attracted to what they did because his father was actually an accordionist. And he played music, but he had switched over like to the God thing. So
can't do both.
Well, he would do, but he was non-secular, what they call this is a term, I believe. And anyhow, so I'm in the car with this dude one day. He gave me a ride from I was like from the library at the university, and I was going somewhere, and he gave me a ride. And in his car, he had a cassette tape. And the cassette tape said "Un día a la vez," which is like a Christian, kind of like a song. It's a Christian song.
One day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. And so his dad, he kind of put on, I was like, oh man, that's you guys. That's cool. And then he tried to kind of talk to me. I'm like, whoa. I was like, yeah, you know what, man?
Was he trying to preach to
you? Yeah,
he
started trying to talk to me. And I stopped him right away. I was like, nah, you know what, bro? I'm
waste
cool.
Your time. Yeah.
I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's cool that you do that. Yeah. Just don't. And
don't push it on me. Yeah.
And that ended.
Yeah.
And at the time, I used to do. I used to go and train at a dojang for Taekwondo. And I was always helping, and I invited him. Hey, come on down to the studio one day and check out the class, blah blah blah.
And he said, "Don't push that shit on me."
Well, I was gonna rich hand his ass to the fucking throat, but anyhow. But no, he said, "Cool." So the day, it was like a day before. I didn't even know what was up. I was living in this like this, not abandoned house, but like a house, and it had like 3 other like degenerates in there. And I used to have a little 38 snub nose. And this is how paranoid we lived in that place, because you didn't know who the hell you were sleeping with.
Wow.
Like I used to take the carriage out the 38 and take it apart just in case this motherfucker wanted
to get you with
get my shit. You know what I mean? He was gonna, at least if he tried to pistol with me, I'd have a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the kind of environment I lived in for a minute.
Wow.
And anyways, I'm on my last leg. I don't know where I'm gonna sleep the next day. Blah blah blah. This dude rolls up to the Taekwondo studio. And he checks it out, and I'm like, "Hey man, you like the thing?" And I'm trying to like sell him like a membership. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, that's fine, but," and he kind of like, "Don't push that shit on me." But he said, "I'm not. That's not why I'm here." And I was like, "Well, what are you here for?" And this dude said, "I'm here for you."
Yeah, saw that.
And I was like, "What you mean?
Yeah.
What you mean you're here for me?"
Yeah.
Like he said, and I'm not paraphrasing. He said, "God spoke to me." I don't know who the hell whatever spoke to him.
Right.
But he what do you say? Like, I don't know what the words are, but he told me like, this is what he said, this is like your situation. I'm here to help you.
Wow.
And that scared me because like, well, he doesn't know anybody in my family.
Right.
You know? So that was kind of crazy to me, you know?
So he said your situation is like
he
medium,
described what my situation currently was.
Oh, okay.
And he had never been part of my world as far as like what we used to do.
So there was no reason for him to have those details of your life.
I mean, he's a
right.
Yeah.
So
or God talked to him.
You know, and that's just like that's kind of like one story, and then let me segue into the other part. You know, so it goes back. That ties into there's things that we just don't understand, right? So going back to that, there's things that you don't understand, and I don't necessarily believe, you know, this or that or not unless I see things, you know, and but between something like that happening to me and the goddamn Exorcist and my tia and my grandma telling you all these crazy ass stories about El Cucuy or La Llorona or La Mano Peluda and all that stuff. Yeah. You know, I think we kind of like, we come into these little weird little like mindsets or whatever. And to this point, my grandma used to always say, you know how they say like animals can detect like evil spirits. I've always lived. My dog sleeps in my bed. Wow. And I swear, I always say that's on my first line of defense.
Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Because I really do. I as much as I say I don't believe stuff like that, I'm like, just in case, you know what I'm saying?
You sleep with Panchita?
Yeah. No, I listen, if it was up to me, I would sleep with my dogs, but unfortunately they shed too much and Droopy drools like a gorilla. So, and then my wife was, no, I tried that and she was like, hell no, they stay downstairs. But back to your point, man, that's valid.
I'm not trying to get too deep, man. It was just kind of like,
but I like this.
It's just so real with what Sherman was saying.
Obviously, there's a different dimension or whatever for what we know to be. There has to be, because we know there's good and evil. You know, we know there's bad and good. This shit with this hat, man. This shit, you know, if thousands of people see the same apparition or demon that you saw, it's because there has to be something else out there that's the truth. It just doesn't come from imagination. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think our brains are I don't know. I think they can offer us a lot of answers and they can give us a lot of shit that I'm not saying is wrong or right, but I think we don't give enough props to the brain.
You know,
just because
you could almost,
because we're all the same people. We're all the same people. We're all our brains are made up the same exact way. So if there's a cloud here, most likely we're all gonna have the same fucking cloud. We are, you know what I mean? Like we're born to have noses and ears and mouths and eyes, and sometimes some fucked up shit gets in there.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's not spiritual at all. Not at all. I'm just saying that I'm just saying, but I have no idea what I'm about to fucking say. Well, but you know what I mean? Like we're all built the same way.
Look, I look at what's happening now with all these storms that have been happening within the past 2 months. The hurricanes in Texas and the hurricane in Miami and, you know, the earthquakes in Mexico.
Right.
This is biblical shit. This is biblical. Is you know
sure.
Right. You know what I mean?
Well,
this is Revelations.
Yeah.
The problem is those pages have been written by man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do not put faith in words that are written by man.
I sure don't.
And I don't either. There are passages, I believe in God. This is, you know, I'll say that. But there are passages within that Bible that I'm like, man, this contradicts this. Why would you even put this in it? You know what I mean? It doesn't give any good to this, you know, piece of literature that's supposed to be holy.
Sure.
So, and keep in mind, everything that you believe is really what you perceive, right? So when they say Moses parted the Red Sea, it could have been a poet that saw a man and his foot stepped in a muddy puddle and he saw the splashes and he just created a poem. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying that people have different ways and different views and how they decided to write those words down. You would really have to be there. As you know, JJ, you said you want to see it for yourself. You want facts. And it's really hard to believe everything that's written in a piece of paper that's written by man.
You know, and I'm kind of conflicted with this whole thing because, like, going back to the whole thing that I love history, right? And so I like just reading about things and how things were or whatever, you know. And it's just crazy because, well, not to veer off so into, you know, there's so many little rabbit holes we can go down.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to go down.
Yeah, there's so many damn little rabbit holes we can go into, but like, you know, just to kind of touch on that whole thing, like there's a part of me says, hey, these motherfuckers were high as shit on something,
Right.
when they was writing this shit, because everybody has an imagination,
Right.
and like in Sherm's case, and in my case, you can almost make the argument that it was the power of suggestion, say in my case, because of my upbringing and my tias and my abuelas, right?
Yeah.
But then you have a story like Sherm's where he doesn't know, he's never heard of the Hat Man, you know, from anything. There's no suggestion there.
He introduced me to the Hat.
You know what made it so crazy for me was because 2 weeks prior I had ascertained that information. It was sort of like,
and I didn't know shit. I never heard about the guy.
And I had listened to Coast to Coast since 2006. So, that was the first 2 weeks prior to him having that conversation with me is when I learned about it. It was sort of like somebody gave me that information to pass on to him. Hey man.
And I'm not the guy to wake up that early for work. So you know that it didn't come. I mean, yeah, I guess ask my wife, ask my mom. I've been talking about this dude forever, but when Carlos started talking about it, I was like, oh shit, Carlos probably just like, he heard this on Coast to Coast. I was like, motherfucker, I don't listen to Coast to Coast. You pick me up right when I roll out of bed.
No, man.
That's crazy,
when he was telling me that, I was like, you know, when you're a student in class and you want the teacher to pick you, you're like, I know, I got the answer. I got the answer.
Yeah.
So I'm being silent, patient, and as he's giving me this information, I'm like, oh shit, get the fuck! Like inside, I wanted to burst, and when he finished, I was like, dude, check this out.
It fucked me up.
My wife says that she sees shit. Like she feels that she's like sensitive to that realm or world or whatever you want to call
crazy,
it,
man.
and like. And she don't do drugs, dog. So I'm like,
bitch, I don't do drugs. Go ahead.
But she's talking about like she's always, you know, she believes in that whole dream thing, and there's got to be some kind of connection there, right? Or at least I like to believe that. And for a long time, and I'm gonna jump into the story that happened to me because that kind of made me a believer, like for reals. Because up till now, it's just the footsteps, it's shit that I think you hear, nothing ever really happened to me. But for a long time, you know, I'm gonna. So I ship out for boot camp on a Monday, and my dad dies on a Thursday, right?
Oh no!
And the last thing, like,
fuck,
wow.
And the last thing that my dad had told me, I remember he said, you don't have to be the best at what you do. Just put your best effort forward, type of thing. And so I didn't really like, you know, we always kind of like, and that happened right before I had gotten into trouble. I had left my home. I left my home when I was 17, and I was kind of like on my own. And when I believed that I had it like all out with my pops, he's the one that saved me. You know what I mean?
He reached out to you.
He reached out to me, you know, and him and my grandma, and to go back on that. From there on, I used to have these, like when you were talking about recurring dreams, where they were so vivid that I could recall the details of said dreams, right?
For sure.
And the one common like theme that would reoccur in my dreams is that my pops was always coming to see me and picking me up, and we'd always kind of like roll in the big rig,
right?
You know, and
the dually.
the big, like a big trucks. You know, my dad used to be a truck driver.
My bad.
So they used to come down. So my dad, every time he'd come down from because the ranch is all family, right? So he'd be rolling down the street and he'd rev up the truck and he'd slap the Jake brakes on, you know? So he would, bro. And that's how I knew he was coming.
He was talking to you guys.
Right. So in my dreams, I could hear that. I would hear the boom, bro, on the Jake brakes. And I was like, okay, and it's my pops. And he would always be picking me up, but it was kind of like present time. He'd always be inviting me to go somewhere.
Right.
But I'm like, nah, I gotta wake up for I got 06 formation. I can't make it. Like, it was like I was talking to him, but it was like what was happening in my real life.
It was a dream mixed with reality.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
And I used to get these dreams all the time. And my wife is the one that said, nah, is that you didn't make peace with your pops. You gotta let him go. Oh. And then my aunt used to say, your pops is trying to take you. You know, your pops trying to take you with you. Or with him, you know?
Yeah,
and I'm just like, I hope it's what my wife says.
Not yet. You know, maybe another 50 years.
So I used to always say, and the common thing was that he would always ask me once, and I'd say, nah, I gotta go do something or whatever. I got this. I got a meeting, or no, I can't ask for days. Like, it was just like recurring. This happened for years.
So you had like recurring. I don't want to say excuses, but things why you couldn't go.
It was always something like legitimately happening in my life that I was like, oh, I can't make it. And he was like, oh, okay. He would stop the truck. I would climb out. And the last thing I would always remember is you hear the air brakes pop. And then I'd wake up and it's morning.
Bro.
And that shit used to happen all the time, yo.
Hey, JJ, so you have a story about the farm, right? What happened at the farm? What happened at the farm?
Well, on the farm, we used to do these crazy hours, bro. So, and I did not know this until after the fact. So, it was just a late night, regular late night. We were in the middle of like the tomato season. That's what we used to harvest. And I needed to go out. My last run was to go out and drop empty bins for the workers for the early morning.
Right.
And there's a section. So we used to farm on Camp Pendleton, right at the edge of the beach. On where
I know that farming area is not too far from St. Onofre, right?
Right. It's Oceanside, California. For people that are familiar with that area. On Camp Pendleton's right next to the LCAC site, where they have the hovercrafts and so on and so forth. Yeah. And that whole region, Stuart Mesa housing, which is Stuart Mesa housing in the back, there's a big old field. And if I'm not mistaken, it was about 800 acres, give or take a few hundred acres. And it's right on the beach. And we used to call it playas because it's on the beach, of course, right? So, anyways, I'm on the back front corner of this ranch. It's about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. You can't see shit. It's just me in the truck. I'm kind of driving around, being careful I don't like run over some wood stakes or some shit, right? And I'm dropping off bins, and I get off to drop the trailer off. And as I'm walking, have you guys ever been in your car and you got the what do you call it, the cab light on? Yeah. So you can see the reflection. You can see your reflection on the passenger side, right?
Sure.
So I get off the truck and I drop off the bins, and I get to the truck and I say, you know what? I'm gonna do a walk around real quick, make sure I'm not like close to something that I'm gonna run over, right? So I get down and I'm running around, and there you go again, that little, you think you hear shit, because it's in the middle of the night,
right up
type
on
of
the
shit.
arms. Yeah.
I'm walking towards the back of the light, and you got the what's that glow from the parking lights from the trailer?
Yeah, the ambers. Yeah.
And you see that little like when something passes through it. So I didn't think much of it, but my fucking spidey sense kind of kicked in a little bit. I'm like, oh shit. So I walk around and I stop midway to the trailer because I thought I saw a flicker or some shit on the lights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm fucking out of here. Fuck it. So just as soon as I turn around, I'm frozen. And I get this cold, like, push of air. Oh. And what I believe is the face of a young woman right dead in my face. Like,
what?
You know, we're on the microphone, so you can't see. I got my hand, like, right on my face right now. But, like, just like that, and I'm like, making eye contact with something. And I cannot move. I cannot move for, like, it seemed like a long time, but it was probably just seconds.
Seconds, yeah.
And I just froze, and I just felt that, like, when you're taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
And then it was gone.
That's crazy, man. That's wild.
And I jumped onto the truck, and I'm not gonna lie, I was so afraid to look to the passenger side. I didn't even look. I turned off the fucking cab light, like, you know when you're, like, looking for something, without looking.
Yeah.
I was looking for that
because you don't want to directly
motherfucking
put your
switch, yo.
into that direction.
I did not want to look at the fucking window,
man.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get out of there fucking fast enough, bro.
That's wild, bro.
And I get out, and the next day, I talked to the old ranch hands, and I'm talking about this ranch has been in business for over 65 years. You know, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna plug the ranch a little bit.
Plug it.
You know, Oceanside Produce, Harry Singh and Sons. You know, the Singh family are pillars in the San Diego community, and I owe that family a lot.
Wow.
And I love them, and they're still family. But that happened at that ranch show, and they've been in business for over 65 years. So
did you ask them about?
Oh yeah.
What
I went to the shop, and I was talking down, and we were at break, and I was talking to the old cats right there, and I was like, man, you know, some weird shit happened to me last night. You know, and I was like, I was in field 4, and they had everything, like, sectioned off, and one of the mechanics says, field 4. He goes, what time? He goes, you went to field 4 at night? And I was like, well, yeah, I had to drop off the bins. He goes, man, the irrigation guys that live, like, on the ranch, like, they do not go over there.
What?
After 7 o'clock, bro.
Get the fuck
They
out of here.
don't touch that place.
So they knew about that.
They knew about it. Like, and they had no knowledge, and it wasn't a common thing to go be dumping that late. It was just so happened that's how it happened that day, you know?
That's crazy.
And I'm telling you, I went down there, and, like, this thing happened. I think I saw, like, this woman.
Wow.
And he said, oh, es la muertita. La muertita se te subió.
Shit.
You know what I mean? Like, in the like saying, like, the girl, the apparition.
Enough Spanish to run the other way.
Dude. and she and I was like, so
See ya.
What?
You know, and I was trying to make light of the situation. I was like, man, yeah, I'm kind of, like, disappointed. I ain't getting no love. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but supposedly the mechanic said, or the ranch hands that have been there like 35 years were mentioning that she goes and she gets in your face. And that she said that she's friendly, so she doesn't really harm. She's never really known to harm anything or whatever, but that she looks into your eyes to see if you were or her, like, her love. You
That's
know,
Medusa.
you know what I mean?
Don't
Damn,
look.
that's crazy. So you ain't getting no kiss, nigga.
Nothing.
Like, I'm
Not a
taking
touch.
you with me. You coming with me?
You know what I mean?
Boy.
Oh my god, bro!
I was like, these guns forever.
And I was like, you know, what you motherfuckers didn't say nothing.
Man, you ain't giving me no goddamn warning.
Yeah.
All right, I got one real quick.
Go ahead, man.
All right. I grew up in Fire Mountain, Oceanside. We have a really big space there in Fire Mountain. It's I would say like 2 acres, maybe 1.5 acres. And everybody in my family on that side of the family is buried in that
Plot
compound
area
that we have. Yeah. So I have my grandma living next door. We built on to the grandparents, the great grandparents that lived down from her. And so anyway, like all the family was there. And they're all buried in the backyard under a magnolia tree.
backyard
Like
of a house.
The same one?
Yeah.
Of
No,
a
yeah,
house?
they're there. We go there every weekend.
Of a house?
Yeah.
Of a house.
So this is Fire Mountain, Oceanside, California.
Fuck, man.
If you're driving
is
by, if you're driving by, you're gonna see the mural on the garage door, and everybody's gonna be like, "Yep, yep."
Like,
I
is there
know
a
that
penal
mural."
code against that? Like, can
Fuck
you do
no.
that?
So okay, check it out. Like you can put ash in a
Canister.
in a
The
canister.
urn,
That's one thing.
The urn, yeah.
But if you ask for bones and everything that comes with that person, you're going to get it. So, like, we had bags. Dude, to where it would take multiple people to carry these people out of my grandmother's closet.
What
And
the
we would take them to the burial site and put them down. So this was with bones, and it would take multiple people to carry
So,
these people. Dude, I
cemetery.
don't know about laws. I don't know about like.
But so who decided, hey, let's
All I'm saying, Carlos, is that nobody in the family put bodies in a mortuary or a
outta here.
How
fucking
far do you-
cemetery.
like,
they're
is there
they're
like
all
a
at my
certain-
crib.
No, I'm just being curious, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm not trying to make a joke, but like how far down do you dig?
6 feet.
It's still 6 feet. That's like the standard.
And
I
I'm not
guess.
even trying to sound stupid right now. It really is. We dug 6 feet.
So who was
And
the...
we put that
for
shit
each
down.
bag.
No, wait.
or
dude,
like for each family member,
dude, this bag is probably the size of you.
and that's everybody.
And we got to like carry it on a fucking
Like some kind of like
some cart,
carrying
yeah.
apparatus or something.
Those
So
are
we-
like mixed skeletons of
Yeah,
different
so
family members.
they don't. So a lot of times when you ask for your little fucking ashes and get it put into a whatever it is,
An urn?
Yeah, urn.
a urn. Thank you. No,
Ballbearer.
man, this is so different.
crazy, bro.
This is like
Like a
enough
hefty
to
bag?
pour into like a Honda Accord.
Hey,
like
man,
it's a
so
lot.
That's a lot.
Somebody, somebody in your family had to say, hey, this is the way we're going to go do
So
things.
yeah, somebody
You know?
did, and fuck, I don't know. Where am I gonna go? Am I gonna go to a cemetery, or am I gonna get buried under
That's
this
wild, man. Hey,
this
but
bush? It's not a
sure,
bush. It's a beautiful tree,
that's
magnolia.
wild, man. You got stories about the Temecula Valley.
You want me to go away from what I was
Tell-
talking about?
Yeah.
Fire Mountain.
No, well,
Oceanside.
because that's
Well, you know,
spooky enough.
but it's funny. My grandpa used to say like, "You're the safest in a cemetery."
Let me.
Is there like you guys ever hear that?
No, yeah. No, I've heard it.
Why-
He looked
why-
at me like
so
I
what's the
was
reasoning?
fucking.
So what's the reasoning?
I don't know.
JJ looked at me like,
I would
fuck.
either
I don't-
because people are like kind of like superstitious.
No, or maybe there's spirits protecting that area.
But
or
that's- my grandpa used to
or more,
say that.
Or more good spirits
So I
than evil.
basically grew up on a cemetery where people are buried, right?
see,
It's
no,
my
there's a
great
difference.
grandparents and people that I lived with.
That loved you.
That
they were
loved
put,
you.
and God bless them.
Yes,
God
yes.
bless them. You're looking at me like I'm gonna do them dirty, but I'm
No,
not.
no,
I'm just saying.
no, I'm not. yeah, but
what's they were your family, so they're going to be there to protect you.
No,
I think
absolutely.
so. I
Right.
mean,
So-
I would believe.
So, okay, great grandma. I got to start saying it in a better way. Great grandma. She passed and she went. And so my mom's out doing shit. I can curse. It's okay. Great grandma knows me. So my mom is out like doing yard work and stuff. And we have a whistle, like a family whistle. If we're lost in a fucking grocery store or whatever, we go like that, right? Does that sound right?
Is that like passed down? Like
No,
through
that's it. Yeah,
generations?
that's it. It's been forever. And so,
That's kind of cool. In a way.
yeah. And so my mom was out doing stuff and she heard it and she was like, oh shit. And so she runs in the house over here and my grandma's on the house over here because we have this like compound of families. So she calls my grandma to tell her that she heard my great grandma's whistle and it went. And so she calls my grandma, who is her mother, and she goes, "Hey, I thought I just heard like grandma's whistle, and I just want to call you and say what's up," kind of like that. So my grandma goes to check that voicemail. All she hears is Kib.
Wow.
Like that.
What's that?
Well, my great grandma's name is Jessie McKibben, and her high school nickname was Kib. And it pushed so much force. Yeah.
Dog,
I feel him. I'm feeling my boy next to me.
Look at this.
But I'm dead serious.
goosebumps.
Like, Kib. So you hear so when you're checking your voicemail, it goes like this. All right, play. One voicemail, ready, play. And it goes, Kib. And then it's, "Hi, Mom. I was just out in the yard and I heard Grandma's whistle.
Oh, my God.
And I just want to let you know that it's kind of weird, but she's here. I think she's here."
Hey, man.
So for years, no, this went on for a long time to where we were bringing people and we were going like, "Damn, let me hear that. Let me hear that." I brought friends. Like friends came and we were all listening and we were sitting around going, "Yeah." And we were like kind of high-fiving each other. I don't know what the fuck we were doing. We were just like, "Damn, told
it's
you
real.
I wasn't
I mean,
full of
it's
shit."
real, you know?
Right. So
that's
my
wild.
mom's like, she's got like a crazier friend or whatever. She rolls over and she's like listening, like getting ready, like, "Oh, this is gonna be exciting." And she's listening and it goes, "Kib." And she goes, "Ah!" She freaks out. She freaks out. She goes, no, that's the devil. It's whatever. We watched the answering machine little square we had go 1, 1, 1, 0.
Wow.
Gone.
Oh, dude, that's
Gone. So we had so her daughter who was next door. So this is my great grandma who died, who I was there for. But grandma lived next door, and dude, ever since, man, it's just
that's
like
crazy.
it's bowls of dog food getting scooted across the floor. It's chairs rocking, and we would just ask her like, "Are you cool?" And she was like, "Yeah, I don't care. I love it. I know that they're here, and I love that they're rocking, like, and showing me that, like, they're
That
with
they're here,
me."
that they're
And I was
still
like, "Cool, but I'm never gonna spend the night
know,
here.
but
I love them, but
that's-
I'm
it-
never
you know,
gonna spend the night here."
Us being on our side and me listening to that story, it's scary, right? But one day one of us could possibly be on that other side.
Right.
Like I wonder, what are they
Right,
experiencing?
pushing so much force.
What are they trying to tell us?
Like
Right.
effort.
There's maybe the force comes from the attempt in the communication. Maybe it takes that amount of force. But what are they trying to communicate? Like that. Those are the things that I want to know. Is like there has to be other side. We know there's another side. Like, and what is the experience? Not that I want to experience it right now or tomorrow in 10 years or 20. But what
We
is
have
on
so
the
many
other
different
side?
religions right now, like just gnarly, like Jehovah's. Like you're gonna get in or you're not, and there's only like 16 of you or whatever the bullshit is. It's scary. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, that's scary shit.
When I moved to Temecula and I bought this home, I did a little bit of research, not as extensive as Sherman did, but I did a little bit of research and kind of find out that the Pichinga tribe have a lot of burial sites around this area. In particular, Sherm, you know Marconi that works with us?
Nope. Oh, yeah.
Pacho.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Pacho used to be a ranger for the tribe of Temecula.
Oh, that's right.
I started asking him, "Hey, so you work for the Rangers at Temecula tribe?" "Yeah, man." He goes, "Hey, man, that place is haunted." Mm-hmm. And I said, "What do you mean it's haunted?" He goes, "Yo, man, there's been times where I would have to go and do some personal inspections of buildings, and the light would just turn off while I was in the middle of the building, and I would be like, I got it," because there's a graveyard in this area. And if you're listening, my home is adjacent to the Pachanga tribe property.
It's right on that shit, y'all.
It's like across the street.
Yeah, it's a right.
It is right up on that shit,
So
y'all.
imagine my home across. When I step out of my front door, there is a white wall, a white brick wall. Behind that front white wall is the Pachanga tribe Indian area. That's their area. And they have these Indian burial grounds not too far from where I live. And then Sherman ascertained, well, before we go into that, so when I bought my home was brand new. There was one home built on the left-hand side of where my home currently is. And then after that home, there was nothing. Now the whole community is up. Homes were built. The weekend that I moved in, it was myself, my compadre, and my nephew. The girls had went out to go buy food. We had finished moving everything in. And I told my two individuals that were at my house, my compadre and my nephew, I said, all right, guys, I need you guys to get on your knees. And I'm going to get on my knees. And I prayed to the Indian ghosts in the area. And I said, hey, look, man, I moved into this house without no malice. I'm just here with my family. I come in peace. I hope you leave us alone. And I did a little bit of prayer.
Have you had any experiences
no,
here?
not at all, man.
Okay, so
never.
I did.
It worked.
And I was shaving. I was in my room shaving. So we have, let me try to break down this room layout. But I had the shower, the bathroom. There's no like door to get into the bathroom, right? So I'm sitting in there shaving or brushing my teeth. I don't remember. And I don't remember locking the door, but I was sitting there, and in the back, I see my wife with some braided shit. I didn't think twice, about why her hair would be braided.
Right.
But she walked by, and so I was like sitting there shaving, just going, shit. Well, my wife just walked in. I'm going to talk to her. Just talking to her about some shit. I don't remember what I was talking to her about. But I was like, fuck. And I was talking forever. And I'm just shaving. And I was kind of picturing in my head what just walked behind me. And it was a very braided chick, like one braid going down the back of her fucking head. And I'm just sitting there looking in the mirror going, oh, yeah, okay. So babe walked in here and I'm just going to start talking to her about my work. And then I fucking washed my face. And I go out and look left. Nothing. Look right. My door's locked. Ooh. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Damn.
So
you should have prayed, huh?
Oh, so bad. It was so bad. That was bad. So I came down and said, hey, babe, did you roll up in my room? She's like, no. Making my kids quesadilla, whatever it is she's making. And I'm just like, so, and note that she doesn't have a fucking braided anything. My wife had a messy fucking hairdo down to her ass. There wasn't anybody like the person that I was talking to for so fucking long.
No braids, no nothing.
Oh, for so long.
That's
damn.
crazy,
I was just sitting in there shaving. I saw it walk past me, and I was like, "Oh, okay. So I have someone I'm talking to.
That's
so
wild,
yeah,
man.
babe. So tomorrow I gotta work, and then after work I'm probably gonna hit the bar and get wasted.
That's
Not
wild,
really,
man.
But yeah. So I go downstairs. She doesn't have a braid, and I'm just like, "Oh fuck." And you know what? I don't know if it helps or not, but we have like a naked I don't want to say Indian. Native American. A topless Native American in our bedroom window. And I don't know if that's good or bad.
You don't know if
Maybe
that's
we're
attracting them?
repping. We don't even know. Like, we have no idea.
That's wild, man.
But I told my wife, and she was like, oh, yeah, I never had braided hair since we were probably like in third grade.
That's
but
wild,
cool.
man. You know, not too far from here, in the Mexican-American War, there were Luceños. And Luceños turned out, obviously now, that tribe, that Native American tribe turned out to be the Pachanga tribe.
So that was the name of the Pachanga tribe, the Luceños?
Luceños, yeah.
Luceños or Luceños?
Luceños, como
Oh, okay.
Luis. Luiseños.
Okay.
Yeah, and there were about 400 of them that were massacred by Mexicans, not too far from here. If you go towards,
That's why nobody likes us.
And in Los Angeles, so it went really far.
Yeah.
Like, IE to
You might have to edit.
If you go towards the Wine Ranch area, so if we're going east from where we're at, maybe about 5 to 6 miles, there's a huge area where there's a bunch of Luiseño Native Americans, about 400 of them, that were massacred by the Mexican army and the Mexican American army.
Where were they buried, Carlos?
Is this like site just not touched? Like, do they not mess with that area, or
did they
urbanize it, or what?
They put the studio here.
What do you mean? Like here?
As far as burial grounds go?
I thought burial grounds were like sacred or something.
Well, this is for the Luiseños, right? This is where the 400 were ambushed by the Mexican army. This is about 5-6 miles east from here, but there were other skirmishes within this area, and then Sherman's going to give you more detail about that.
No, that was it.
Oh, that's like the poltergeist shit.
So there's an area called Vale Ranch. Where
I understand. So the actual battle, massacre. I'm not going to say battle. It wasn't even a battle, but.
Battle would be indicative of that the other side had a chance.
Right. So Native Americans were just massacred from here to the Winchester exit. And that's us, like, modern white people.
You're looking about 2 miles, man. Maybe a mile. Yeah,
to Winchester? Yeah, it's about 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah, that's a lot of area. That's just the length. We're not talking about the width. And then within that width, so there's there's a commerce area where there's Sports Authority, there's PetSmart, all these places where I go to shop, and these Indians were pretty much
like, this is where life was for them. That's where it existed.
I did enough research to know that there were going to be a lot of Indian burial sites within this area. So and this is a brand new house. And if you guys watch Poltergeist, their whole community was built on a burial site. And I said to myself, all right, guys, there is a lot of history within this valley. We're going to get on our knees.
No, for sure.
And we're going to ask them for forgiveness if we trespass, but it wasn't our intentions. We have no malice intentions. And you did
this like on your own. You were
man. Yeah.
You had done the research of where, when you bought here.
Before we moved in.
And all that.
Yeah.
I want to read this. This is just the family who left based on the knowledge of the area. It says, my family just sold our home in Lilac Lane in French Valley, which is, I don't know, not too far from here. I mean, we're still in the same valley.
It's about 6-7 miles away.
Right. The house was very spiritually active. Apparitions and voices have been caught on voice recorders saying, shut up, I will fucking kill you, and a child saying, I love my puppy, and laughing.
Wow.
Doors and cabinets opening and closing. Items being forcibly thrown from their place and breaking. It had our 250-pound personal protection dogs terrified, hanging their heads and growling with their tails between their legs, staring down the hallway into the living room.
That's why I sleep with my dog.
Wow.
Once being so safe, they began clawing at the doors to get out of the room. People have refused to come over to our house and sit with us again. I heard when we moved out, it was remodeled, and I heard that remodeling makes it worse. If we were reading this and recently bought a house on Lilac Lane, and if you are reading this and you currently bought a house on Lilac Lane in French Valley,
don't buy it.
Please contact me.
You're in trouble, buddy.
Is what she's saying.
Not for nothing, but like I'm the first one to say I'm not like a religious, but I'm always like just in case.
Yeah,
I brought
man.
somebody I brought like one of the Catholic priests, and he kind of did his little
little
1, 2, 3 and shit.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
shook a tree leaf
Bless
or
the
whatever.
house, yeah.
He blessed it. He blessed it through the prayer on there. But I don't know, man. That. I'm telling you, The Exorcist fucked me up, dog.
Listen, man.
Because when I hear, like, I think I hear shit. When I was younger, I used to do the whole, like, cover my head and pray, like pray, and I would close my eyes even though you have the goddamn covers over your head, and I'd pray and I'm like you know, like let it go away, please let it go away, and that, you know, and blah blah blah, and that. Man, that I'm telling you, that Exorcist fucked me up, dog.
Hey, listen, man, we could talk about this forever. And you know what? We're going to have more podcasts talking about spooky shit, man, because this is probably one of my favorite subjects, man. But real quick, JJ, before we leave here for the podcast here on chapter 27 with Big JJ from the drummer from La Justicia, man, tell us about your experiences being the drummer for La Justicia, man. You know, now that you say there's 6 individuals, including an engineer, is that correct?
Right, it's 6 with the engineer.
That's the first time I've ever heard an engineer being put in the band. But tell us the chemistry, tell us the experiences. How's that work?
Man, like I always call it. I've been chasing the neon rainbow for a while, and it's one of those things where I was introduced to music, and you know, I can actually, like, if you allow me to go back that far, I'm at my best friend's house, my compadre Vic de Leon, down in South Texas, and it's kind of like when you know somebody for what seems to be like all your life, your whole life, and then there's just things that just like happens, and you're like, man, I didn't know you could do that. You know, and that's his mom, you know, so we would spend the night over on Saturdays, you know, going into Sunday. And the one rule was you got to go to church, you know.
Oh, so you could chill
on
out.
Sunday. On Saturday, you could spend the night, but come Sunday morning, you're going to church. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I went to church. We went to church, and his mom, La Señora de Leon, I love her to death, and she gets up and she starts singing like in the church choir thing.
Church choir, yeah.
And I'm like, I listened to this lady belt like just like whatever the hymn was or whatever. But she did it with like such swag, bro, that I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, she just cooked us breakfast, dog. You know, she just
she turned into a different person.
Yeah, she was like a superstar, like, you know, and everybody's enamored by her, and like, and I mean, she legitimately sang like very beautifully.
And then you thinking, I know you behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I was like it inspired me really. Like, if anything, it inspired me. I was like I want to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things where like that's how I learned how to play drums in church.
Wow.
You know, and that's how that started. For me, at least, for the instrument. And fast forward now over the years, you know, I joined the military, and
thank you for your service, by the way. You joined the Marine Corps.
You know,
right?
thank you.
Hoorah.
And it's one of those things where, and you know, all of us in this room,
JJ, you know,
our prior service. So.
And you know, we're gonna have a podcast where we're gonna talk about strictly boot camp experiences. Do you mind if we bring you back so we can have?
Oh, I would love it, bro. I'm loving this, bro. I don't want. You got the Johnny going, yo. I'm like big Sherms over here, dog. It's just this is I'm a newbie to the podcast type of thing, and you know, big ups to you guys, man. I compliment you guys because you guys do such a good job here, bro. You guys really do. You know what I mean?
You, man.
And thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
It's besides me having a personal relationship, you know, with you,
right, and
Sherm,
right.
But it's refreshing to you know, and I've been blessed. Like, this goes back to the music. I have been fortunate, you know. I have been fortunate enough to be around people that just have all these different talents, bro. You know, I really have that. I'm you know, it's kind of crazy because, you know, my best friend's mom is really, that really got it to. And my mom, and you know, and even my mom used to take me to guitar lessons and shit when I was kind of like a kid, and she had me doing piano, but the homeboys kind of fucking shit on me because I was taking piano, so I scratched that, dog, which I regret now.
Yes, absolutely.
I regret that, man, because I'm like, they're like, because my boys were like, I started playing piano. I was like, yeah, I'm taking piano classes, and my boys were like,
that's such a beautiful art, man.
That's for girls, dude. And I'm like,
that's such a beautiful art.
And I was like, oh yeah, fuck that shit, you know? I was like, and I was like, and I mean, and then when it's like drums, it was different, yo. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, anyways, fast forward, you know, I joined the Marine Corps. I kind of like, I wasn't really like paying attention to music. You know, I didn't take it as serious.
But you know what? I didn't either, man. But you know what? But when you join the service, now you have a primary. It's a career. Let's be honest. Because if you don't take it seriously, you can die.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So music, in some way, form, or fashion, has to take a backseat. So
well, it was an accident. Like, music was an accident when I was in the military. Because, I mean, I was a lifer, bro. I was like what you call, you know, and we used to have a military term, especially in the Marine Corps. You're like, you're a lifer, you know, and you were considered a lifer because that you're like,
you're gung ho. You were going to do 20 years.
Yeah, there was no doubt in my mind, you know, and
you faced some adversity in your Marine Corps career, JJ.
And it's just I'm telling you, it's just like you're trying to fight destiny, you know, and the more you do, there's just kind of like almost like that final what's that movie, Sherm? The Final Destination or some shit like that where the guys get killed.
Is
that what that's called? Yeah.
They put blocks on your left and
right,
right,
and then the course keeps kind of changing into and it always ends to
where you're supposed to reach.
It always leads to the end, you know,
result,
thing. Anyways, and so I'm like. And it's true because like I remember being in the Marine Corps. I had finally decided, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna become a drill instructor, you know, and I was like, you know, that's it.
I never knew that about you.
Yeah. So once you do that, I mean, I'd be midway into a career, you know, and like really committed.
That's an A billet,
right? Or the B billet,
or B billet.
They called it.
Yeah,
B billet, kind of like.
So B billet. So for the civilians who are listening, so when you join the military, you have a primary MOS. Primary MOS is your military occupational skill. That's whether you're going to be a judge, whether you're going to be infantry, javelin, where you're going to drive tanks, where you're going to be a mechanic, where you're going to be an administrator.
Hey, man.
So
don't fabricate it.
Hey, no, but check this out. A lot of people in the civilian world don't know what shitbird is.
Oh, okay,
and I will go ahead and explain that.
Shitbird.
Shitbird in the military terms means that you're a dirtbag. You're unsatisfactory. You're a malingerer.
Don't be that guy.
You don't fucking do your job.
Don't be that guy.
You don't want to be a shitbird.
You don't want to be a shitbird.
Or considered a shitbird, that's for sure.
We call you out. But then your B billet is like, for example, let's say you come into
your
the
special.
Marine Corps.
Well, not a specialty,
but it's like your secondary occupation, right?
It kind of cements the fact that you're going to be a career military person. I would say. So, I mean, to make it put it in a layman term, I guess. But anyhow, so I'm already on this course, you know. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, do that. I don't go to DI school or drill instructor course because I get chosen for the recruiting duty.
Oh, so you're gonna be a recruiter?
And I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna be a recruiter, dog. Because I believe that.
To be a hardcore,
I'm not
going to be a DI.
Yeah,
you were going to be the tip of the spear for the Marine Corps. You were going to train the new recruits.
Damn.
Right? And bring them in and forge them into battle because I felt the same way too.
Right. My pride was like, I want to make Marines. I don't want to sell the Marine Corps, you know?
Oh, shit.
See, there's like 3 different levels in the Marine Corps. There's the Marine, there's the making of Marines, and then there's the Special Force Marines.
That's how we're going
3
to
different levels,
whole
man.
podcast right now.
Bro,
That
that's the
was
truth,
beautiful.
man. So like everybody looks
that was it.
everybody
That was
looks
it.
as a
That was
Marine
it.
like, yo, man, Marines are the shit. Yeah, thank you. That's a typical salute.
No.
Then you look at the person that makes
Mm-hmm.
Marines, like, oh shit, respect. Then you look at the Special Forces within the Marine Force community, your Marine Force Reconnaissance, your MRSOC. Those are the ultimate salutes that so there's 3 tiers within the Marine Corps, right? So you wanted to be the second tier, like I want to make Marines.
I was fascinated with the whole process because I was at the Weapons Field Training Battalion in Camp Pendleton, where they're basically you're part of recruit training. At that point, you
JJ, real quick, what was your MOS when you first came in?
I was a 2311 dump
that?
dog.
What's that?
Ammunition bean counter, you know, ammunition.
Yeah, you know, but that's an important job, man.
And you don't realize it.
I remember working closely with one of those.
Realize it.
One of those.
I realize it. I realize it now. You know,
and I was in mainland Japan, man, Camp Fuji, and those dudes. That's a tough job, man.
Yeah.
Especially over there where it's fucking cold as hell, and it starts to rain. Ooh, I would hate to be that person.
You know, a big shout out to all my brothers, all my 2311s, and Marine Corps, and all my service members. You know, and big ups to all the veterans out there, and all who currently serve.
Absolutely.
And but yeah, I was a 2311. I was an ammunition handler. And but yeah, so
you guys work in ammo supply points.
yes, it's a logistical position. You know, combat support.
I don't mean to cut you off, man. My second deployment to Iraq, the first night we get there, the ammo supply point gets hit with the mortar.
Oh yeah,
Ammo with a random mortar. So there was so we were stationed in Al-Taqatum. Iraqis would put mortars
in the tubes. They freeze them. Remember?
No. What? Yeah, they would do that too, but they would put them in the back of a flatbed truck, pickup truck. They would shoot 3 to 4, and then they would drive off. So counter battery couldn't hit them.
Right.
And this random mortar hits my first night in Al-Taqatum. A random mortar hits the ammo supply point in Al-Taqatum. AT-4s, grenades, 5.56, 7.62s exploding and firing off all night. My first night in Al-Taqatum. We had to get resupplied by our battalion sister unit the following day. We had no ammunition except, the 90 rounds we had and whatever AT-4s and grenades we had. ACP was destroyed.
Wow.
That was my first experiences in Al-Taqatum. My second tour, 2004 of August. So there were Marines hurt. That worked at that ACP.
And and when it comes down to that, and I mean that could be a podcast in itself.
It will. Yeah.
It will be.
But yeah, and a big shout out to all my brothers. Brothers and sisters, all alike. Because you know how it is, dog. Out there, I mean, out here we talk shit and we bag on each other, but when we're out there, eating dirt, the only true colors that matter are the red, white, and blue. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, to get back on what we were talking about. I wanted to become a drill instructor because it was like that was like the epitome to me. That's like a nice notch to have on your belt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're gonna get promoted. Yeah.
Right. And segueing this back into how this affected, this whole talk that we're talking about, how destiny and all this kind of falls into place. I finally decide, for all of us that were in the military, we understand that you're trying to make a career decision as what direction you're gonna head into. And I go in there and I choose to do this, and then I'm slated for this other duty, which really supposedly would kind of supersede any ideas that I might have, because then you realize that is not what you want to do. It's where they need you to be, And so I get slated for this recruiter's detail. I make a long story short, I quit out. I get out of the recruiting orders, and I I even went as far as like sabotaging myself in a sense to where I would almost kind of like get myself like DQ'd from being able to go to recruiting, and in the course of getting myself making myself ineligible for the recruiting service, we start this little band at right there on Weapons Field Training Battalion, and we just got together. 3 of us got together and we just started banging, making noise every day, and all my Marine Corps brothers that were in Camp Pendleton that ever went through Weapons Field Training Battalion knows the Target Factory. And the Target Factory doubled at night after 1600, which is 4 o'clock for our civilian counterparts. But the Target Factory became like the rehearsal studio place, for Nimbus. Back in the day we were called Nimbus and Nefarious, and so we went out there and we were just kind of banging out, and we ended up, kind of doing this little music thing. And that's how I started getting back into music, and we started going into this whole thing with the music thing. And I get one of my brothers says like, "Hey, you used to play drums, dude, and like you should be the drummer." And I was like, "All right, I'll be the drummer." And the next day we went to Guitar Center and I dropped like $1,600 on a freaking drum set. And my wife, like, she wanted to strangle my ass, yo, because, like, she was like, "You better, God forbid, you play these fucking drums for like 3 weeks, and then you find out that you don't want to do it, right, and you just dump them there, right?"
I know that feeling.
So I'm like, no, babe, no, I'm gonna, I'm gonna play this shit. I'm serious, this is for real, And so we go in there, and then like 6 months after that, we get married in Mexico, and I had never really sang in public until I got married.
What?
For my wife, I sang for her a cappella, and I G'd it up a cappella because I used to just sing in barbecues and in the living room, and I used to, I knew 3 freaking chords, and I'd play the same freaking 3 chords, you know what I mean? And so my wife and my sister-in-law, they would always talk about, "Oh, we're gonna put you on Don Francisco, bro. Don Francisco,
Sábado Gigante.
Sábado Gigante, bro." They were like, "Oh, we're gonna." This is all before The Voice and American Idol and all that shit, bro. They're like, "We're gonna sign you up for Don Francisco and shit on a Saturday," and
hey, so man, I don't mean to cut you off, but I walk into the room and Sherm's naked. Sherm's got no shirt on, and then he's got like 10 shorts on, so he looks like completely naked. Hey, but
you guys.
So they were talking about they were gonna put you on Sábado Gigante.
So we're on, dog. I'm telling you, the Johnny, bro, is like, I'm able to. I think it's like the Johnny enables me to just like dismiss the fact that he's over here naked and shit next to me, dog.
So they were gonna put you on Sábado Gigante.
Supposedly, that was like the ongoing like in-house joke type of shit, right? So we go to Mexico City and we get married, and my brother-in-laws, I love these guys, bro. They like very humble.
We're talking about Hugo.
No, actually, my brother-in-law's in Mexico City.
Okay.
They knew I'm a big Texas music fan, that I love music type of thing. So, like, you know how we are, dog. The brother-in-laws were like, I was like, I don't care how the wedding party goes, because all we did was put up the money. They did all the legwork. They did all the hard work.
Wow.
And I was like, "Is there anything that you care for?" I was like, "I don't give a shit as long as there's fucking liquor on every table and the music's got to be on off the fucking hook, dog. Man. Other than that, I don't give a shit what you guys do." So they did. They found this band, and I go up there, and as a surprise for my wife, I sing a cappella for her.
That's dope.
And she never saw it coming.
And what song did you sing, man?
I sang this song that I had heard from this band.
You think you could sing it right now? If not, you don't.
Let me see. I think so. Let me see.
Think so?
Let me see.
Let's go.
Hold on, dog. I'm singing. It's hard to sing in key with you naked next to me, dog.
Give you more,
I'm gonna use it as an inspiration, dog.
Emotional inspiration.
Let me see. Let me see if I can catch the words real quick. The melody.
Don't look at his beard.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. No hallo las palabras, no sé cómo empezar. Es más, me tardaría toda una eternidad. Me siento que me ahogo al tratar de expresar la manera más precisa de poderme expresar. Es que me he dado cuenta cuando estás en mis brazos que tú eres mi todo y doy gracias a Dios, mas no llores mi vida cuando me ves llorando, son lágrimas de alegría. Lloro porque te amo.
Damn it.
Holy shit.
I had no idea you put it in that way, homie.
You did?
Dog,
That shit was emotional, man.
you know,
I wish Sherm understood the words.
Hey,
That shit was so beautiful.
hey, it was still beautiful. Fuck you.
Big Sherm, though. JJ, that shit was fucking beautiful.
dude, the words are amazing.
Damn. Sherm just heard tacos. Yo, that was beautiful, dog.
But yeah, man, and dude, I haven't sang that, and that's crazy, dog. Like I got the little butterflies and shit, dog. Come on, bro. But it's a beautiful song, and it was just like that's how I've always felt about my wife, type of thing.
That's dope.
And I always I test my success, you know, and when I define success, that to me is like is I'm happy. I have nothing to complain about.
Hey, man, that's how I gauge my success, bro.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
and not necessarily that I'm content, but I'm happy. You know,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Because content and happy are two different emotions, man.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, JJ, what I want to do is I want to bring you back, and I want to bring some of your members of the band back here, and you know, you guys can perform live music and the whole nine. But I want to dedicate a chapter just to you guys. You think we can make that happen?
I think so.
Yeah, man. Let's do that, man. Now, if you could tell us what's going to be the next, where can we catch you guys? What's going to be the next live event?
Our next live event is. Let me see. I'm actually the boys have a show on the 14th that I'm not going to be part of, but it's a private event, and then we're going to be we have another private event on October 28th, and the next time you can catch us at a public venue will be I believe on. Let me check my calendar real quick. Carlos got me on the spot right here, yo.
Yeah, man.
But I believe Friday, November 10th, we're going to be at El Pacifico Marisco's restaurant.
Is that
in Vista, California?
Vista, California.
In Vista, California.
That's a good restaurant, man.
It's good.
You played there before.
We play there regularly.
Yeah, you played there. I remember. That's not too far away from.
It's right off of Santa Fe.
Yes,
it's off of North Santa Fe.
I know exactly. They have some good seafood over there.
Actually, the food is really, really good.
Oh yeah.
And the venue it's nice. It's a family venue. Anybody can show up, type of thing. You guys go out there with the family.
Absolutely.
It's family oriented, and we go out there. We go out there. They have. I think we play along. I want to give a big shout out to the DJ karaoke guys.
Pretty good.
The DJ karaoke guys are really is our lifeline. Actually, they've been consistently. There's a DJ Tulio, DJ Sleek, and DJ Jorge. And their karaoke, they spin, stuff like that.
They've been putting out the good word.
Well, they take us with them. So we share the stage with these
awesome,
DJs.
Man. Wow.
So while there's an intermission, they play the DJ karaoke stuff. Wow. So in reality, these guys are our lifeline.
That's awesome. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because they keep you guys.
They give us the work almost.
The air
I can say
of the band is in the air and everything's being brought up. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been hanging out here in the chapter of the Architect with our good friend JJ, the drummer of La Justia. This has been chapter 27. We spoke about demons, scary stories, La Llorona. JJ has gone into La Mano Peluda, cerotes. The scary things in life and you know what? Before I do say goodbye. Hey, look, make sure that your kids are safe here on this Halloween. Please check their candy. I remember back in the 80s, that was a big issue, razor blades and apples, but I don't think anybody's giving out apples anymore. But please take care of your kids. Make sure they have bright, colored, reflective material on them while they're walking the streets this Halloween. Please take care of them. This has been Chapter 27 of the Chapter of the Architect. Our special guest, JJ, and my co-host, Sherman, Big Dog, told us big stories of ghosts, hauntings. And this has been Chapter 27, DJ Architect out.
DJ Architect.